Voz de la Clave is the Latin jazz ensemble offered at CU Denver in the music department.
When I was approached about this documentary on Voz de la Clave, I was just thrilled. You work so hard to try to let people know what you're doing. I mean, you're so proud of the work you do and the work that your students are doing, and you want people to know about it. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is just wonderful, and just this opportunity being provided. We're blessed to have 3 female vocalists in the ensemble this semester, and each one brings something unique, both in terms of voice range and their background musically. Mika, who's a soprano, the highest voice part, she just is very good with harmonies. Her pitch is just dead on.
I came to UCD, I heard about Voz de la Clave. I was like, I'm just gonna do it, you know? I might be horrible at it, it might be a terrible experience, but I'm gonna do it. And I ended up loving it, so.
In the middle, we have Sakile. She just has so much sense of rhythm in terms of that she brings to the group.
I just want to be better, like always, and I think we're always doing that. Like we're always getting better at practicing, at communicating with each other, at playing and performing. I just hope that, or I know that by the end of the semester, we'll just be able to look back and be like, wow.
Our newest addition to the ensemble in terms of vocalist is Claire. She just joined up with us this semester. I'm just waiting to see what new addition she brings.
I've listened to Latin and salsa music before. I enjoy it. It's one of the types of music that I really like to listen to, but I didn't know a lot of the mechanics behind it. I'm still learning a lot about something I thought I kind of had a feel for before.
We have Dylan playing piano. He's actually a student that I've worked with as an applied student, as a one-on-one student. He's just got a great sense of rhythm, which is the reason why I initially had my eye on him for the ensemble, because that's such a key component.
It's a very piano-driven style. It's very, it asked a lot out of my fingers.
We have Jose on bass. Jose is actually the one member of the group who's fully fluent in Spanish, so we're thankful to have him around.
I have helped them out with translating, and not just translating, but translating so that the lyrics have the same amount of syllables. I mean, I guess I've always liked Latin music, but actually being in a group and working on lyrics and working on songs and stuff, it's actually engaging me more within my own identity.
Clint Curry is our guitar player. He's a music major in the college. This is his first experience in terms of doing Latin music, but he's got a ton of background in terms of jazz, so just a great soloist in the ensemble.
Just always liked listening to music, and I wanted to be able to play the songs that I listen to all the time.
We've got Drew, who plays the trumpet. He has a great background with horn arranging, and so he's kind of our go-to guy in terms of transcribing various charts or figuring out various horn harmonies.
If there's something in a chart that doesn't really fit the group, and we're just reading the chart, that means we're playing a song that's not perfect for us. But if we get to come up with it, there's a better chance that it's going to fit the tendencies of the players that we have.
We have Clay, who is a student with Metro State.
I was walking around one day and saw an audition announcement for Voz de la Clave. Well, I went online, I got the tryout piece, I practiced it a little bit, and I had an in-person audition with Pete, actually.
We have 2 percussionists in the group this semester. Rob specializes in timbales, really solid player. He's actually graduating this year, so we're gonna miss him when he takes off.
It's a little bit scary to think that I'm about to graduate, but it's also really exciting to pursue, the world of being a performer and being a recording arts engineer and a drum teacher.
We have Uriah, who specializes on congas. That's his main instrument. Him and Rob work great together.
To be able to have live musicians and feeding off each other, that's a big difference, and that's what Voz gave me.
So my job is really just to give cues as needed. And then once we've run through the tunes a number of times, then, everyone just knows what's going on and they just perform at shows. We're doing some salsa music where it's really dance music, and then we're doing some music where it's more Latin jazz music, where it's a little bit more about taking solos and improvising. So the idea with this group is somewhat a cross between the two.
I didn't even know what clave was, which is a basic salsa rhythm.
Clave, clave, what is clave? How does this work? Am I clapping it right? I have to sing on top of it?
The rhythmic root of Latin music is clave.
The clave and the rhythm beat is kind of the driving factor behind everything.
There's rumba clave, there's, I think, son clave.
Basically, there's 2-3 and 3-2, and it's just 2-3. The 2 side comes before the 3, so it would be like bum 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 bum. Whereas 3-2 would be bum 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 1 2 3 1 2.
You know, it's one thing to sing just on a 4 straight ones, but when you're singing on top of things that are moving, you know, it's not as straight, so it's very complicated.
Like usually the bass is always on like the root, or like on beat 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. Whereas like Latin bass is like 1, 2, 3. It's on like the end of 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. It's just like something I've been getting used to.
I guess the Brazilian stuff is a little more guitar driven. Ba 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 that I'll play on the guitar, whereas the salsa music is definitely piano and montuno driven.
It's funky chords, weird rhythms, and played really, really fast, you know what I mean, with improvisations.
We all grew up listening to rock and roll or some different style. You know, we're not used to that Latin style because that's not where we grow up.
It's different than classical music in that no one really needs to direct, because with classical music you slow down and you speed up, and the time's a little bit more flexible. With jazz music and Latin music, I mean, there's a groove. I mean, it's just like pop music where, I mean, there's a drum beat and you don't need someone to direct you. I mean, it's just the groove's there.
Salsa comes from Cuba, and it's just a little bit different groove, and whereas samba comes from Brazil, and it's like a faster bossa nova. And there's just different feels, totally. And it's kind of a trick to switch from a samba feel to a salsa feel right in the middle, because we're doing Another Star as a salsa feel.
Other aspects of Latin music, Brazilian music, things like cumbia, are really what make this ensemble unique. The fact that we bring in pop music sometimes and do Latin pop, I mean, all sorts of different experimentation. I mean, we're open to it. And what makes us different from other groups here on campus is that each group has a very specific direction that they're going in. So there's definitely interaction that's going on stage, but the bulk of the music is worked out ahead of time.
It's making people stand up and move around and they're feeling good, then it's like that's what that music's about.
We're definitely the only ones where our mission is really like things tied into the Latino culture.
Latin music is a style of music. It has to become a part of you, and like the rhythms and the melodies and like the different characteristics of it, you just have to let it like sink into you.
It's almost like we're having a conversation with our playing.
And I'm just trying to listen to like everybody as like a unit rather than everybody separately. Like everybody has their separate parts, but when you put it all together, it's just one like unit.
You have to be doing something small that contributes to something greater. You know, there's always so many people in these Latin bands, and more often than not, you know, when you guys are playing a groove, you have to be doing something smaller, but then when it's time to solo or your time in the spotlight, you have to like immediately step up.
This semester, we're doing a lot more of our own original arrangements, which is a new thing for the group, because in the past we've been mostly a cover band, where we're just, I mean, playing songs that other people have recorded. And then we're even trying some different things. We did a snarky puppy tune this last semester called Amor Te La, that's in French.
Who knew that we could do a French song and people would love it? And also, who knew that I could sing in French?
You know, we think of it as music, but I always try to bring myself back to, remember, it's dance music. And do people, you know, is it making them want to dance? Is it making them want to get out of their chairs? Because if it's not, then it ain't doing the job.
Some of the music is done completely by ear, where we just say, okay, we're gonna do this tune, everyone listen to it, and just learn it by ear. And I think it's actually good to do both. I think it's good to have some reading where they're learning that way, and I think it's good to have some things where they're just having to use their ear and learn it by ear and then just come ready to play it.
They don't even use music most of the time.
But like at the end of the day, like it's the best way to learn music is to learn by ear.
If anything, I just absolutely love it when there's a hole with percussion. It's like, I'll jump in, and so I just love to sit down on the timbales and play. I love the congas too, but the congas are a very physical instrument. I mean, you're actually hitting that skin with your hand, and with real skin heads, it actually dries out your fingers, so then your fingers start cracking. So I love playing those, but there's only so much I can do before my hands are just beat up and I'm done. But the timbales are sticks, and so I can just go to town and not worry about messing up my fingers.
A lot of the parts have percussive elements to them, you know. The piano parts are very rhythmic, and then they tie in to what's going on with the percussion, and you know, the horn lines are very rhythmic, and everything, regardless of whether or not you're playing an actual drum, is very rhythmic to kind of contribute to the overall sound of things.
My favorite is when I get to play. I mean, there's something fun about actually sitting there and playing music.
VOS's performances are very unique, not like any other ensemble at CU Denver. They have a collection of instruments that you rarely see just in a normal band. So I was just blown away by how many instruments they use and what sounds those instruments make.
You play the groove and you just keep playing. You know, you don't play the same 4 counts over and over again. It's always mixing.
It's really just a chance to just get out there and perform.
Being able to internalize that style and become one with.
And that's the stuff that makes the music come to life. We have people in the ensemble who aren't music majors, and if it wasn't something that was enjoyable to do, they wouldn't be there. And I'm so thankful that it's a place where people who aren't music majors actually do want to come. They actually do want to make music, and it's something where the experience of being in the group, both musically and just relationally, is something that's valuable to them. I'm thankful for that.
Just because we love it and we love performing together.
I really like it, but it's a lot of hard work.
Doing it for the audience, because it's almost like we're having a conversation with our playing.
You can't play follow the leader. You gotta just take charge all the time, 100% of the time.
There you see the reflections of people's glasses and eyes and stuff, so you can't actually really see people as much in the bright lights. So that kind of helps a little bit, I feel like, with the stage fright. You know, you're kind of, you know, alone from this crowd here. You can't see the 50, 60, 100 people that might be watching you.
Well, there's usually in this kind of music, there's a solo section, and it's 4 bars, and those changes just repeat. So it's really open solo section, so you can just solo however long you want to, and then give everybody else a look, let them know you're done, and then keep going with the song.
You play the groove and you just keep playing. You know, you don't play the same 4 counts over and over again. It's always mixing.
It's just a combination of all of these interesting, different rhythms and tunes and just musical styles. VOS had a great experience performing up at the Jazz Festival at UNC. It's a big deal to perform at the Jazz Festival in Greeley. We all met up around campus, kind of collected everyone. We took 2 vans up to Greeley. Grabbed a little bit of Mexican food on the way just to set the mood. We got to Greeley. We buzzed around the Jazz Fest for a little bit. Just watched a couple different groups perform, which was really great. I mean, it was such an honor to be there with all of those other musicians. We had, I thought, 30 minutes to rehearse what we were performing before we actually went on stage. So they gave us this little rehearsal room, and we kind of set up and kind of roughly rehearsing things. We rehearsed, then we waited backstage for a few minutes, and we got a little bit jittery and nervous, and then they invited us out, and we We walked out onto the stage and just this huge hall, and it was so scary. And then we performed, and it all turned out really well. A few of us were given awards, actually. All three vocalists received awards, and so did our two percussionists, Rob and Uriah.
There's maybe a handful of people who are going to go on and who are really going to focus extensively on Latin music. I mean, we've had a few alums who are doing professional work now.
I guess the struggle is making a living, first of all, and then the other struggle is actually getting your music out to people, or like getting your name out as an artist to people. Definitely as like an individual, I've been growing a lot, you know, learning how to really play music, learning how to just like live and play, and just be in harmony with yourself, you know, above all things. I feel like I've gotten, I don't know, I've just gotten so much better. I have so much more talent now in my fingers and just like knowledge in my head. Our whole mission is to like play music and have a good time for ourselves, and like what we're doing out there is for ourselves above all. We want to really make a product, not even a product, but make ourselves feel good in it. And it is some sort of a product. It's like a product, I don't know, something.
Outside of school, life after graduation, it's interesting. The circle of musicians is small in Denver. Vos definitely helped me. The interesting thing about Vos was that I was finally put into a setting where I was playing the percussion instruments in the setting that they're supposed to be played. It was just having me actively play the instruments. It was having me play timbales and congas. I was playing those instruments, you know, every day. That's performing. It's unlike anything else. You can move people, you know, physically and mentally. You are speaking a universal language without speaking. I think that's insanely powerful, because if you can't, you know, say you speak German and I speak English, we can't necessarily communicate, but if you started playing piano, I could play drums behind it. And so it's kind of got this like, it's a universal language. So that's really beautiful. And the other thing that's been sticking out to me recently is just your ability to impact other people. You know, people seem to care so much about meeting a performer or seeing somebody perform and supporting them. You know, and it really just makes you feel like you're doing something to kind of give back to people and something that's meaningful.
Rob and I, it was cool. He plays out in like different funk groups. He has a couple bands he plays with consistently, and what's really fun is he brings me up on stage when I'm down in the audience. He throws me on an instrument that he knows I can play, and we jam for a song. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I remember being up on stage, man. It actually was really tight. He invites me into his world just like that. And the education I got at UCD definitely it prepared me in a way of, it gave me a good foundation of knowledge and things to know. You know, put everything I've learned from the school into practice. You learn so much in 4 years. But like as years go on, you're going to be able to invest on those things, you know, just everything. I never played music to ever make money or to do it for anything other than love, you know, and that's what I'll probably continue doing with it. I'm just doing it because I love it. So that's what was really cool about Vos, is it gave me practice. I had all these rhythms in my head, but I had no experience playing those rhythms with a full band. It's that experience of really doing it, you know, real life musicianship. So yeah, that's how it worked out. That's how it tied into Vos for sure. Music is a way for me to express myself. It's just a way of expression. You know, I don't have to speak. It's a way of through movement. It's a way of through my movement, and then it produces a sound that other people hear, not only see. It's just a form of my expression. It's just what I latched onto. You know, it's just the way it comes through. The world sees Uriah through my music. You know, through me playing congas and me doing what I do. And it's just the way I like to express myself. It always got me ready. In a way, it gave me a chance to experiment with like soloing in Latin music. What's cool is like there's also like just live Latin bands that you could definitely audition for once you leave the school. And that's what like Vos did for me, and what Pete did. You know, he made sure I was soloing. He gave me those chances, even says, "Oh, you take a solo," and then he teaches you and he walks through. Well, try this next time. Have these ideas flowing in your head or this concept. You know, and it's really cool. We don't know how to be band leaders coming into this program, but when we leave this program, they talk to us. We get to see other people lead a band, and then we're able to do that and practice at it. Situation of the class always changing. What that does is it lights a fire under your butt to make sure, like, okay, so like when you do have that ensemble that you all click and you become friends, because that's how it happens. You become friends every semester. And once you have that ensemble that clicks and you have to split up because you all go different ways, it just reminds you to do bands outside of school and to continue what you learned. Oh, I learned how to play with other people. I learned how to talk to people musically and verbally, and just to express my feelings on a topic of the playing. It's cool because it gives that experience allows us to do that in the real world. You know, once we're done with school, so that's why it's good that the classes end, because it cuts it off. If it continued forever, that's your job to go do outside of school. The school is meant to cut it off and say, boom, now you got to move on. Now somebody else needs to come and learn and stress out about this new style they never learned before. It's your turn to go meet other people who share the love and go play with them. You know, that's kind of what it does.
I think it's great when new people come into the ensemble. I mean, this is a university. It's all about education. It's all about learning new things.
So there's like less people in most this semester. It's been a lot more low-key, more intimate, I guess. Like, we have more jokes amongst each other, whereas when you're playing with like 10 people in a group, it's hard to like be that, I don't know. Joking in the band is like one of the most important things. If you're not like messing around with your bandmates, then I don't know.
But yeah, it's scarier being up there alone, and I'll get used to it. You guys are just great. They're all so nice, they're so supportive. They treat me, you know, as their equal, which is great, and we're all friends, and so it's such a nice end to the day to walk in to a supportive environment like that. I feel supported, I feel respected, and I feel loved, and that's the best environment to learn about music performance. VOS is a way for me to learn about jazz in general. It's an opportunity for me to learn about music, you know, that we don't hear every day. It's not pop music.
But a lot of people, it's just coming in, trying a new style of music, and in some way, it's going to impact the music that they make. And so I just love to have new people in and just give them a taste of what Latin music is really like, regardless of how much they do with it down the road.
VOS means a lot to me. It's the only performance class that I'm taking, and I love performance, even though my major is audio production. It's a whole big change in so many different ways.
It's a different language, you know. I would say it's a language in its own, but there's different, like, you know how we all have different accents or we say words differently? That's how styles of music, that's how I would describe it. Every style has a different accent or a different slang, you know what I mean?
You have to go out of your way to listen to salsa music, you know what I'm saying? It's not on commercials. Like, you have to change your radio station to play Cubo, and then it's gotta be on a Sunday to hear salsa.
It made me realize that I liked different kinds of music that I didn't think I would like.
It's just so much fun, and it's a completely different way to think about music.
You have to just train your mind to think a different way.
It's like be able to communicate ideas like through music.
But VOS is definitely interesting because it's a challenge to learn a style of music that illustrates a time period.
VOS focuses most of its music, with the exception of, you know, samba and Brazilian stuff. We focus most of our music on the clave rhythm. That's not a new rhythm. It's something that developed over a long period of time, around the time that jazz came to be.
Clave, all Latin music, all of it, all the vocals, all the hits, all the percussion.
everything revolves around clave. Clave is like the heartbeat of Latin music.
Pete's always pushing us to like go beyond ourselves and like be part of a whole rather than an individual.
That's the goal, is man, it's like just playing it from your heart and just making it come to life. Or anything, it's voz de la clave. There's all sorts of people that say vaz.
With them. Yep, SB.
This is edited.
And once you guys told me, you're like, yeah, we edited this, I felt so much more comfortable.
This is all edited.
This ain't like back in the day where I'll just leave the tape rolling, shut up, you know? When you see like videos, it's usually just like a clip of one like line or something like, hell yeah! And you learn so much. Who is that? Is that you?
No.
Okay.
Just go ahead and that's because I stayed up too late. Hi, Tasha.
And then I'm playing with a couple of groups.
You would explain this so much better than I can. Don't show this to Pete. If you put this in, he'll be watching and be like, Clara, you totally bombed that.